Welcome to this episode of Federal Home Loan Bank Chicago's Banking on Connections. I'm Angie Ashlaw, Lead Community Investment Operations Specialist here at FHLBank Chicago. Since June is National Homeownership Month, we thought it would be a good idea to talk about the current home buying market here in Illinois and in Wisconsin. We know for many prospective home buyers, the path to homeownership continues to become more difficult. Rising home prices, upfront costs remain significant barriers, especially for first-time and moderate-income households working to save for down payment and closing costs. Today, I'm joined by my colleague, Jamie Lutton, Manager, Community Outreach and Engagement. We're going to talk about today's housing landscape, what our member institutions are seeing across the communities they serve, and how Federal Home Loan Bank Chicago's Down Payment Plus programs are helping to expand access to homeownership opportunities across Illinois and Wisconsin. Jamie, welcome.
Happy to be here.
So to kind of kick things off, let's talk about what are home buyers navigating now? What sort of difficulties are they facing in today's market?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to comment. As you briefly mentioned earlier, the current home buying market is challenging. Annually, we at the Federal Home Loan Bank Chicago release a targeted community lending plan, the TCLP. And the TCLP, for those not familiar, documents market dynamics as well as looks at housing and economic development needs within our District of Illinois and Wisconsin. In this year's TCLP, which is available on our website, and I highly recommend you check it out, we noted several housing challenges homebuyers are experiencing firsthand. And there are a lot, so I actually have a handy sheet that I will be referencing to make sure I hit all these statistics. But first, we noted that rising wages and income have not kept pace with inflation or home prices, while housing-related expenses have increased. So as a result of this, the gap between income and expenses continues to widen, and households face escalating affordability challenges. Second, we noted that in Illinois and Wisconsin, we're facing historically low levels of housing inventory. Third, we noted increase in home prices. So nationwide, home prices are up 60% since 2019, which is continuing a 2-decade trend of growth that has far outpaced household incomes. So when you think about that, that means home prices in Illinois and Wisconsin are 3.3 and 3.7 times the median household income for those two states. And so according to Illinois Realtors, the median home price across Illinois increased 3.4% from 2024 to 2025 alone, which means the prices went up from $290,000 on average up to $300,000. Wisconsin actually saw an even larger housing price increase, according to Wisconsin Realtors, with a 4.5% median home price increase from 2024 to 2025, going from $310,000 to $325,000. And lastly, I told you there were a lot, so thank you for bearing with me. Housing-related expenses have significantly increased. So as a result, the gap between income and expenses has widened. So when you look at all of this collectively, when you're seeing, low levels of housing inventory, you're seeing increase in home prices kind of mixed together with rising interest rates and insurance premiums, it's locking out a lot of would-be first-time home buyers, particularly low and moderate income individuals, out of the housing market. And so really what all of this data is kind of pointing us to is that home buyers need help now more than ever if they're looking to purchase a home. So programs that kind of can assist those home buyers through down payment assistance or closing costs, that's what we need right now. And that's what home buyers need.
And that's something that we've heard from our members, too, that down payment assistance is really important right now. And to build on that, we asked our members what they're hearing from home buyers in their communities and what challenges people are navigating in today's market. And here's what they shared.
Emma Flores, CRA loan officer with Wintrust Mortgage. The biggest challenges currently is the market. It's in a rapid increase, and the purchase price is just extremely high. As a result, it causes more of a setback for those who are trying to save for their down payment and their closing costs.
My name is Roberto Interiano, Community Lending Sales Manager at CIBC Bank USA. One of the biggest challenges homebuyers face today is saving for down payment, especially with housing prices and everyday expenses. DPP helps by providing a significant grant that can make a difference in whether our client can purchase a home.
Hi, my name is Linda DiDomenico. I'm the Vice President of Underwriting with Compass Mortgage. The DPP is an important resource for our institution and for the households we serve because, like many households, people are struggling, and this additional money really helps them to provide that safe place for their families and helps them to achieve that home ownership goal that most people would like to enjoy.
So that was really interesting to hear. I think those perspectives really highlight how difficult today's market continues to be for so many households, particularly those first time and moderate income home buyers trying to bridge the gap to home ownership. So, really, what is also flagging for me is it showing that there's a greater need now, like I said earlier, for down payment and closing cost assistance programs. So, Angie, can you explain to our listeners what programs Federal Home Loan Bank Chicago offers currently to help fill the gap?
Yes, let's talk about those. So, our Down Payment Plus program, or DPP, it's funded by FHLBank Chicago, and it helps income eligible homebuyers with down payment and closing costs. The assistance comes in the form of a forgivable grant of up to $10,000. It's paid on the borrower's behalf at closing when they obtain first mortgage financing with one of our participating member institutions. And we have a similar program. It's called DPP Advantage, where a nonprofit institution such as Habitat for Humanity will partner with one of our member institutions to access the grant funds. And in DPP Advantage, the nonprofit organization originates and funds the first mortgage.
That is incredibly helpful. Thank you for that overview. Besides income qualification, are there any other key requirements for homebuyers?
So the homebuyer has to apply and qualify for first mortgage financing with one of our participating member institutions. The household provides their income documentation, all their income sources. The home buyer needs to provide at least $1,000 of their own funds into the transaction. They sign all the required program documentation. If the home is sold or refinanced within 5 years, there could be a portion of the grant that needs to be repaid back. And our program requires both pre-purchase education and counseling that sort of helps the home buyers be ready for homeownership and ensure that they're set to go with that. Through our Community First Housing Counseling Resource Program, we support HUD certified counseling agencies in Illinois and Wisconsin to help expand services that they provide to home buyers. And we're just very proud of DPP and the significant reach that it's had over the years.
Yes, thank you for that. And thank you for also highlighting our other program we have, our Housing Counseling Resource Program, because it's really a nice pipeline, if you kind of think about it, for, helping the individuals access that HUD certified counseling training to then get into our next product. So thank you for that. And I completely agree regarding the reach. So I have, again, some handy statistics I need to share because the numbers I think are pretty impactful. But in 2025 alone, the Federal Home Loan Bank Chicago provided $43 million in down payment assistance, and more than $330 million has been allocated since 1994. So when you think about that again, I know we say numbers, but $330 million is a lot of money. And really what's more important than the dollars, too, is that what that means is that impacted more than 51,000 households. And many of those are first-time home buyers, have really been supported since this program launched.
Those statistics are really powerful when you hear them out loud like that. It's also the stories behind those numbers that kind of bring the impact to life. And to that point, we reached out to our members to share some experiences that have stayed with them and why expanding access to homeownership in their communities is so important. Let's hear what they have to say.
There are so many memorable experiences from an underwriting standpoint that we have been able to provide our clients with the grant. Just that extra sigh of relief that people are able to enjoy with this grant has been a lifesaver for many of our clients. In addition, being able to stack the grant with the down payment assistant programs that we use most, like IDA or IFA, has been a godsend to a lot of our borrowers who were struggling to get into homes or who were going to lose out on an offer because they didn't have as much down payment into the transaction.
This year, I had a family that had been displaced living in a shelter, and they were able to leverage the DPP program in conjunction with the IDA Access Home program and grant to make it possible for the purchase of their home by lowering their down payment, their closing costs, and essentially becoming homeowners.
Hi, I'm Ellen Brazeley, and recently we assisted a couple who were purchasing their first home. One of them worked at another bank but chose CIBC specifically for the support available through the DPP grant. Their lease was ending, and one of them was temporarily out of work, making it difficult to save for a down payment. Without the DPP grant, they would have had to seek temporary housing and delay their plans. Thanks to the grant, they were able to purchase their home and transition from the apartment just one day before their lease expired. This story illustrates how DPP helps first-time buyers overcome financial barriers and achieve their home ownership goals, even in challenging circumstances.
Affordable housing is more than shelter. It is also about opportunity, stability, and hope. At CIBC Bank USA, DPP is an important resource that strengthens our ability to serve households in the communities where we live and work by supporting clients who might otherwise be unable to achieve their goal of homeownership. Our membership with Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago is highly valuable. It enables us to access programs like DPP, which directly benefit the communities we serve and reinforce our commitment to supporting homebuyers.
It was really heartening. I know that sounds a little corny, but I think it's true to hear those testimonials because they flagged what we believe at the Federal Home Loan Bank to be true, which is that DPP contributes not only to that individual home buyer, but to the greater community stability and economic development of that community. So historically, we've seen over time, we've seen the numbers that home ownership is a powerful tool for building individual and generational wealth. But what I think we haven't talked enough about sometimes is the broader impact home ownership has for that community's stability. So really, we know that the benefits of home ownership extend to those communities through facilitating local economic development, community engagement, and improved health and safety outcomes, which is huge, when you think about that. And really, we haven't talked about this quite yet, but I mean, this program wouldn't be possible without our members. And when you think about it, a lot of our members are deeply embedded in the communities where they're already doing business. A lot of times they're anchor institutions. So our hope is that members see the benefit of how DPP not only impacts those individual homeowners, but the broader community itself.
100% agree with that. And I think something that we love about this program is it really helps our members help their customers directly in their communities.
No, absolutely. So Angie, if you're a prospective home buyer, what advice would you give to those who want to access DPP?
So if you're a home buyer, you would need to apply and qualify for first mortgage financing with one of our participating lender institutions. We do have a list of those available on our website, FHLBC.com. The participating member can walk you through the grant application process, submit an application to us on your behalf. Homebuyers do not apply to us directly for the grant. It's all done through our participating member, and that member can answer any questions that the homebuyers got about DPP.
That is really helpful. So I shouldn't be emailing you and asking for one of these grants.
We don't take applications directly from home buyers. It's all done through our wonderful participating lenders.
Got it. Well, that is great to hear. Thank you for that information.
So with that, we want to thank everyone for joining us for this episode of Banking on Connections. National Homeownership Month is a reminder that expanding access to homeownership takes strong partnerships, continued investment, and a shared commitment to the communities that we serve. And while affordability challenges remain, programs like Downpayment Plus are helping more individuals and families throughout Illinois and Wisconsin move closer to home ownership through our member institutions. Thank you again for listening.